changing your life one story at a time. This is the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast with Editor-in-Chief Amy Newmark.
Hey, it's Amy Newmark with your daily dose of Chicken Soup for the Soul inspiration to make you simply happy. It's Valentine's week, so I'm focusing on love. And today I am going to tell you one of my favorite stories from Chicken Soup for the Soul, True Love. This story is called Challenged, and you'll understand why pretty soon. It starts out with Toni Michelle Nell, and she's telling us that she was 26 years old, she was single, and she had just bought her first home. So after she signed the paperwork to buy that home, she decided to stop and visit some friends before heading back to her old place to pack for her move. These were good friends, so when Toni got to their house, she just let herself in. And when she entered their living room, she was surprised to find a guy sitting there on the couch. She was introduced to Martin, and she couldn't help but notice that his clothing was horribly coordinated. Everything was almost the same color, but not quite. And she also noticed that he wasn't able to say very much. There was a lively conversation going on in the room between her and her friends, but he seemed to be tongue-tied. And when he did speak, Martin could only stutter and stammer. So Toni decided that he must be mildly developmentally challenged, which would explain his speech difficulty and his weird clothing. A few days later, she stopped by her friend's house again to borrow an electric cordless screwdriver because she needed it to take home to hang some new window blinds. And that guy Martin was there again. And his clothing was weird again. And his speech problem seemed even worse. So Toni didn't know what to do when he offered to drive her home and install her window blinds for her. She didn't want to discriminate against a person who was mentally challenged, but she didn't know if it was even safe to let him drive her. But her friend was acting like this was perfectly normal. So Toni decided, I'll be open-minded. I'll let this slightly challenged man drive me home and put up my new blinds, because she thought I should make him feel like he's normal, not disabled. So she got into Martin's truck, and they headed to her new home. When they arrived, Martin pulled his toolbox from his truck, and he got right to work. And Toni was impressed because whatever his challenges were, he was very good at hanging the blinds. He measured everything carefully. He didn't make a single extraneous hole. He didn't make a mess. She followed him from room to room as he very competently hung the window blinds. And to be polite, she engaged him in conversation. But it was weird because he spoke clearly whenever his back was to her. But when he turned around and faced her, his speech impediment kicked back in. She didn't know what to make of this. He didn't really seem like the mentally challenged person she had thought, so she was confused. And then, with his back turned to her, Martin said that he and their mutual friends were going out that Friday night, and he asked if she would like to join them. Toni surprised herself by blurting out yes to the back of Martin's head. 4 months later, Toni and Martin were married. By the time they said "I do," the stammering and stuttering were occurring less often. A few months after they were married, Toni told Martin about her mistaken first impression of him. He laughed and he said that he had been stammering and stuttering every time he looked at her because he thought she was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen, and it made him nervous to be around her. And the weird clothing with the almost matching colors, it turns out Martin is colorblind. Join me tomorrow for another story about love, this one about how to do Valentine's Day dinner differently. It may be just what you're looking for as an idea for next year. I'm Amy Newmark. Thanks for listening to the Chicken Soup for the Soul podcast today. For more great love stories, check out Chicken Soup for the Soul, True Love on our website at chickensoup.com.